Imagine finding out through a WhatsApp message that the team that you have put your blood, sweat, and tears into might not be financed next season. Well, that's the reality for the Blackburn Rovers. Blackburn play in the second tier of English women's football, or WSL2, and fought tooth and nail to avoid relegation this season. Despite their efforts, they might not have funding next season. This year, the second division was rebranded from the Championship to WSL2. As part of this rebrand, clubs have to be run as full-time professional operations. While this is a great thing, it also comes with a huge change, a significant increase in cost across several areas of the club. Blackburn Rovers women have been among the least funded sides in women's football for the past 6 seasons, but their relentlessness to stay up season after season in a tough division has become a source of considerable pride for their fans. I think last year it was leaked that they pay their players, wait for it, £9,000 a year. In 2023, one of their most important players, Saffron Jordan, a now 31-year-old forward, was forced to get a second job in the NHS to sustain herself. And NHS workers are infamously underpaid. Can you even think of a world where Patrick Bamford or Enzo Lafay have to make that call? Also, for context, Blackburn have been around since 1991. They're a club that produced Kira Walsh, Georgia Stanway, and Ella Toone, who are current England starters and all household names. And this is the same team that has now been told that there is a 99% chance that their owners will not be financially supporting the team next season. 22-year-old defender Niamh Murphy wrote on social media saying that the only consistency there has been is the lack of financial support from the club. One could argue that a team that is barely beating relegation may not be the best place for investment, but in reality, the team is constantly in a relegation battle because it is so underfunded. Blackburn is owned by the VH Group, or Venky's, which is an Indian conglomerate run by the Rao family. Now, the Rao family have an estimated net worth of £2 billion. They currently run a club where players do not even earn a livable wage. Having to make a change to this number would not even begin to create a dent in their family wealth. The sad part is Blackburn are not even alone in receiving the subpar treatment from their owners. The Wolves team faced something similar a few weeks before this. The Wolves women, who play in the northern section of the third tier, played their hearts out all season in hopes of getting promoted, but finished behind Nottingham Forest, only to be told that even if they had clinched the title, they would not be promoted as their owners too were not willing to fit the bill for improved staffing and facilities. In 2024, Reading were forced to withdraw from the championship due to financial reasons too. Before this, they were considered to be a top-flight team, and now they play in the 5th tier. At the time, their goalkeeper Jackie Byrne said, "At some points you just think, is it a tick box for some teams to have a women's team? Yes, it shows growth to a certain extent, but it's how you invest in them." It's crazy. You see clubs like Arsenal who put so much into their women's teams and have such a focus on promoting both their men and women's teams as one club. Or Chelsea, who has consistently had good funding, right leadership, and look at how tangibly that has benefited them. At a time where there is such a spotlight on the women's game, this blatant disregard and disrespect is astonishing, but it's the reality. The gap between clubs that believe that women can do it versus those that don't is only growing and becoming more and more evident. I mean, Chelsea has now won the WSL 6 years in a row and even went invincible this year. This is an issue for women's football as a whole. If this gap continues to grow, only a small number of teams will thrive or even survive. That means leagues will only get less competitive. Chelsea will continue to be invincible and the game will stop growing. Football finance expert Kieran Maguire weighed in on this, saying that attendance has been down by 9% as compared to the 23-24 season. There's a new TV deal, new commercial, there's certainly a lot of goodwill. But is that being reflected in viewing numbers? In attendances? Not necessarily. And unfortunately, this doesn't surprise me. Maguire breaks this down by comparing women's football to women's cricket, where there's a lot of investment into the national team, but siphoning that money into the WSL and the WSL2 beneficially has been an issue. This lack of investment has led to a huge skill gap between teams, and when the leagues aren't competitive, it's just less exciting for fans to watch. On the same note, some clubs are realizing that if they do get promoted to, say, the second or the first division, they're going to be so far out of their depth because the gap between the last place and top four on the table is so large that it might just be beneficial for them to stay put in their current position. And by clubs, I mean club owners. For some owners, it's just about the men's team. The women are an afterthought or almost a charity case. You don't have to go as low as the third division to see this. In the WSL, Manchester United have consistently treated their extremely successful women's team, much more than the men currently anyways, as second-class citizens. To highlight something recently, although there are a plethora of examples, they cancelled their annual award ceremony because the men had done so poorly, even though the women have had a very successful season. Maguire also highlights that the cost of running a women's team has increased, but the revenue has not to the same extent. And while that may be true, it's only consistent investment and good leadership that will fix that. Don't believe me? Look at what Michelle Kang has done. She has shown us how much women's teams can grow with solid monetary investment. This year, she took the London City Lionesses, the first team not affiliated with a men's counterpart, to the WSL. It's been a year since she took over the team and has made it a place where top players aspire to be. The London City Lionesses do not have a fan base and an audience that is carried over from the men's side like a lot of clubs do. So the revenue and exposure were probably slow to begin with. But now, the club has made a name for itself. She herself has said, "I'm on a mission to prove that women's sports is good business." And how can you not trust her when she owns football giants like Lyon and Washington Spirit? All this to say, sure, it's not easy to run a women's sports team. It's a long-term investment, but that long term is important. Men's teams have had the time to grow a loyal community, embed themselves in the culture of their hometown, and create a legacy. These teams have had decades to grow and plant themselves firmly in the history of the communities they represent, and if given the chance, the women's teams can do the same. Across the pond, the NWSL saw their viewing figures increase 5-fold between 2023 and 2024. In another sport, Caitlin Clark's jersey was a part of the top-selling jerseys of the year, over both genders. There is clearly a space for women's sports, but it's a space that can only grow if the teams continue to invest and continue to care. And that word, care, that's what matters. There are a billion research papers on the impact that women's sports have on communities. The clubs create positive environments for women, create new jobs, and spread goodwill throughout their communities. All the sport needs right now is the right people to provide the right funding. And if they care about their communities and they care about their teams, clubs like Reading, Wolves, and Blackburn can be instrumental in changing the game forever. Thank you for watching the Ready Set Girl show. This is a new kind of video, so tell us what you think and how you feel about the Blackburn situation. See you next time.